2008 was a year for the record books for Pádraig Harrington as he won half of the men's majors. After defending his Open Championship at Royal Birkdale, Harrington went on to win the PGA Championship 2 weeks later at Oakland Hills, becoming the first European to win the PGA since Tommy Armour in 1930. So with that, I'm delighted to welcome in three-time major champion and this year's European Ryder Cup captain, Pádraig. It is wonderful to see you. First of all, just give us a sense of what life has been like in Ireland under pretty strict lockdown regulations. You shaved your head, you're looking fresh, you're keeping busy on social with Paddy's golf tips. What's life been like over the last few weeks for you?
For me, it's been reasonable, very good, to be honest. It's like I built a house and a practice facilities, knowing this was coming along. I have everything I need here. Obviously, then you start thinking of the bigger picture, your friends and your family, and it can be difficult at times. But in general, all my family here, I'm getting to spend more time with them than I ever would. Maybe they're not happy about it, but I'm certainly enjoying the home life side of it. But well aware that, you know, there's plenty of people who are struggling and suffering to this time. And you know, that's kind of, there's two sides to it. You kind of feel bad if you're doing okay in many ways, and but other times you just have to work through that mental side of it and understand that you've got to talk and get on with things and make the most of it.
Yeah, it's been bittersweet for many players, but we've been loving those golf tips on social, so please keep them coming. But let's reminisce on a better time, because this week, of course, would have been the playing of the PGA Championship, where you prevailed as the first Irishman to lift the Wanamaker Trophy back in 2008, just 3 weeks after winning your second Claret Jug. When you look back at that remarkable period of your career, how do you see that time?
You know, the wins came pretty quickly, but they were coming. I'd done a lot of good work. You know, I had chances in other majors. I had plenty of chances afterwards. It just happens that the three majors I won came in the space of 13 months. So be it. It would have been a lot simpler for my career if I won every 5 years a major. But I had plenty of other chances afterwards, and I still believe I can go and win another one. So you never know. We'll wait and see. But it was a spectacular time, and I think if you look at most golfers' careers, they have that 18 months where things seem to fall into place. The game becomes a little easier. I've seen this in many other players' careers, and as much as I've tried to avoid it, it looks like it happened to me too.
Well, Pádraig, looking back at that week at Oakland Hills, going into the weekend, you could have been easily overlooked, having shot 71, 74. What did you say to yourself to turn it around, to then produce a pair of 66s and to just give out some championship-winning golf in the end?
People often look at people winning a tournament, a major or something like that, and assume that everything went to plan. But it's very rarely the case. When you win a golf tournament, things fall into place. Special things happen that are outside your control. So first of all, I was playing great golf, probably the best golf of my life going into it, swinging the club great. But I got sick. I was really badly dehydrated both Thursday and Friday, and essentially I nearly missed the cut. I was so badly coordinated by the end of my second round. I used to go out the front nine. I was okay. I played well, played great actually, and then I'd fall apart in the back nine. And I prepared properly for the event, but the enormity of winning the Open 3 weeks earlier, it just wore me down when I got to the event, and I just didn't have it in me. And the big thing that happened on the weekend, we got a storm. And what that meant is I only had to play 9 holes Saturday, so that gave me effectively an extra 24 hours to recover. And the second thing it did, it softened the golf course up. I've always played my best golf in windy, soft conditions because I can control my ball flight. But there's no point in controlling your ball flight if the greens are too firm and too fast, which they were on Thursday and Friday, whereas they softened up at the weekend. So the shots, the low shots in the wind, the held up shots, the shots riding the wind, whatever, they can be played when the greens are reasonably soft. So it brought it back to my style of conditions for the last 27 holes.
Well, you said you were playing the best golf of your life, and to win the Open Championship on your home continent twice is one thing, but to then go overseas and win one of golf's 4 biggest championships in the US, that's something different. How proud were you to fly the European flag where no player had done in 78 years?
That was interesting. You're trying to win a major for yourself. There's no doubt about it. It's only after you win and people start telling you the records, what you've done, what nobody else has done, that you realise the enormity of it. And it has fallen since then. You can see we've had so many more major winners who followed in my footsteps, and that's, I'm not taking the credit for it, because I followed Michael Campbell's footsteps. I saw him win a US Open. I played a lot of practice rounds with Michael Campbell, and that made it real for me. And when you can see somebody else who you're familiar with, somebody who's a peer, or somebody like, even back then, players would have put Tiger up on a pedestal as somebody different, and him winning majors, you'd learn nothing from that. But when the regular guy you play a four ball with, it's very similar to that. Justin Thomas is winning majors now. He's a fabulous player. But Jordan Spieth has made it a lot easier for Justin Thomas to win majors, because they're friends. They're the same age. Jordan wins majors. Justin can say, well, I play four balls with him on a Wednesday. I can beat him. I can play as well as him. I'm as good as him. And that gives him the confidence to go out and win majors. So yeah, I didn't know that at the time, but there is definitely, when you see somebody else winning, it really helps others follow in your footsteps.
An absolute treat to catch up with 2008 PGA Championship winner Pádraig Harrington, and we'll catch up with him a little bit more later in the week as he looks to captain Europe at the Ryder Cup this year. But let's bring the gang back in. And Robert, I just want to pick up on something that Pádraig said there about Jordan Spieth making it easier for Justin Thomas to win majors. Do you agree with that premise?
I agree that it made it a little easier. He said a lot easier. That's a bit of a stretch. But no, golf, until you're done playing, is really a series of mental hurdles you're trying to get past. And when you see someone, your contemporary, someone you know that you've played so much golf with and beat as often as they beat you, yes, that can give you the idea that, wow, Jordan is this great player. Maybe it's my destiny to be this great player too. The one thing also that Pádraig said, he didn't realize that affected him until much later. So he saw it all in hindsight. So I wonder if Justin Thomas told himself that, if he says, wow, my friend Jordan is playing so well, I know I can do that. Or if it's just something that clicks in your mind. And one day when you're much older, you'll sit around and say to yourself, wow, that really helped me. Maybe send him a little text and say, hey, thanks a lot. You didn't realize it, but you helped me back then.
You know, I think you could look throughout sport, and there's generational good players. And I think there's this constant pushing of each other, as well as gaining confidence when you do see each other's successes. You look at Matthew Wolff and Colin Morikawa. They both have said that they can attribute their success to gaining confidence, seeing each other do well. The other thing that I think would be beneficial in this situation too is realizing and acknowledging that perfect golf doesn't have to happen in order to win golf tournaments. And I think that's something that you can learn from when you're seeing a peer do well, because you've seen them play golf. You know they miss hit shots just as often as you do. Whereas it's an abstract thought until you actually see a contemporary succeed, and you realize that you don't have to be perfect every single round, that you still can be rewarded for good golf.
No doubt, Paige, and inspiration is a part of golf. It's a part of sports. I think back to 2013, Adam Scott wins the Masters. His good buddy Justin Rose wins a U.S. Open 2 months later, and Scotty had actually texted Justin in that interim that your time was coming. And then, of course, you think about Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth and their relationship, though I also think that Justin Thomas eventually would have won a major championship. I also wonder if he felt a little bit of pressure because Jordan had such early success, and it took him a couple of years. You know, Jordan won those majors in 2015, those first two, and of course Justin Thomas's major came at the end of 2017. But Paige, I'm curious, where does it fit now for Jordan Spieth, who has seen Justin Thomas supplant him as the Batman in their relationship?
I think it's going to depend on, in this situation, it depends on how the player handles it. It depends on how Jordan Spieth sees it. Does he compare himself to his past success? Does he compare himself to Justin Thomas? Or does he figure out deep down what it is inside of him that he needs to change in order to be successful? Jealousy can be a great motivator, but it also can be very toxic. So I think for Jordan Spieth, he has to be careful in this situation that comparing himself to Justin, his success right now, doesn't become that jealousy that could be toxic.
Well, you can have all the motivation in the world also, and if you're not hitting the golf ball where you want to, it just doesn't make a lot of difference. I know that Jordan Spieth is special, especially mentally, but his golf game has slipped. His ball striking has slipped, and if it comes back, he will be able to feed off his past success and maybe even some of what Justin Thomas is doing now. But until he stops losing the driver right as often as he does, and until he starts hitting more greens, all the motivation in the world is not going to do a lot of good.